Hi everyone, this is Volume 6 review of Bakuman. At the end of Volume 5, Mashiro and Takagi are overjoyed because they found out that their latest chapter of Detective Trap has tied in ranks with Eiji Nizuma's manga called Crow. The pair see Eiji Nizuma as their rival and they want to surpass him. So they're happy with this result and they want to surpass him, like I said. Throughout Volume 5 and the beginning of Volume 6, Mashiro has been overworking himself. You realize this when you read it. He's not getting enough sleep and he's not eating enough. So you see the loss of weight. And finally in Volume 6 he pays the price for this. What happened is that his assistant walk into the studio and they find out he's collapsed on the floor. So they obviously call the ambulance and they go to a hospital. So the doctor tells Mashiro's mom and tells the editor and Takagi that Mashiro will have to have an operation, and that once the operation is complete he will have to stay in hospital for 3 months to recover. The editor asks the doctor, can he still work on manga even though he has this condition, even though he's in hospital? And the doctor stresses that he cannot because it could worsen his condition. So they're a bit depressed by this. Mashiro is convinced to still continue drawing manga even though he's in hospital, and he convinces Takagi to give him the storyboards to complete even though he's in the hospital. Takagi sees Mashiro's resolve and he agrees. Later on, Miyoshi, that's Takagi's girlfriend, hears this and she slaps Takagi and says that you're his best friend, you're supposed to say no, recover, get your health back, and then we'll create manga. The reason why Takagi and Mashiro wanted to still create manga because they know that if they go on hiatus is taking a break for mangakas. Mangakas take hiatus due to different reasons. It could be for a holiday to relax, or to come up with better ideas, or to help inspire them, go to places to help inspire them for their manga, come up with ideas. And also, like in this case, they go on hiatus due to health issues. It could be overworking or other things. So they know that, Mashiro and Takagi know that going on hiatus this early is going to affect their manga, affect its popularity, affect its rank. So that's why they don't want to go on a break. They want to continue working on it. But like I said, Miyoshi convinces Takagi that Mashiro should stop. But Takagi realizes that he won't be able to persuade Mashiro to stop doing manga. So Takagi rings Miho, that's Mashiro's girlfriend, and Miho learns of what has happened to Mashiro and she goes to the hospital, I think the next day. And the promise they made to one another was to not see each other until their dreams come true. So what happened is that Miho is talking to Mashiro almost through a wall because she's outside the room while he's inside the room. And she's trying to convince Mashiro to stop creating manga, stop drawing while he's in the hospital. Mashiro says no. So Miho. So Miho tells him that how she fell in love with him, and we find out that she fell in love when she was in the 4th grade. She fell in love with his artwork and she fell in love with him. And Mashiro is surprised by this, and she tells her that he fell in love with her in the 6th grade, when they were in the 6th grade, when they were at some kind of swimming meet or swimming competition, because they were at different schools. But even though Miho tells Mashiro this, he is not persuaded, he's not convinced to stop doing manga. He's actually more resolved when he hears this. So Miho has one last card to play. She says, what's more important, manga or me? And Mashiro goes, manga is more important. So Miho's kind of surprised by this, sad by this, and certain things happen, and Miho asks Mashiro if she can visit him while he's in the hospital, just until he gets out of the hospital, just until he's recovered. By now, all the authors and the editors know about Mashiro and that he's in the hospital. So one at a time, they go and visit him. The first to visit is Eiji Nizuma. He hears about Mashiro and thinks, oh, they're going to go hiatus probably. It's a shame, their manga's great. So he goes to visit them, and he sees that Mashiro is still working on the manga, and sees how resolved Mashiro is. At this point, Nizuma leaves the room, tells his editor, let's go back to work because he needs to work on his manga as well. Miura, the editor, by now has been told by all the editors, even the deputy, I'm not sure about the chief editor yet, that he has to convince them, it's his job to convince Mashiro and Takagi to stop creating manga until Mashiro has at least been released from hospital. But when Miura goes to the hospital, he sees that Mashiro is in pain, yet he's still drawing. Miho is supporting his hand to help him draw, but he's still going through that pain just to draw manga. And Miura sees the resolve Mashiro has, and he just can't tell them to stop. In the end, the chief editor hears that Miura hasn't convinced him, so the chief editor, his name is called Sasaki, he heads down to the hospital. At the same time, Hiromaru and Fukuda. Hiromaru is the creator of Auto 11 and Fukuda is the creator of Kiyoshi. They're there seeing Mashiro, and the chief editor comes in and he wants to have a private conversation with Mashiro and Takagi, but Fukuda convinces him that it's to do with everyone here. So the chief editor says that to Mashiro and Takagi, you're going to go on hiatus until after you graduate from high school. So that's almost the next year. Everyone's surprised about this. They don't want to take this crap from the editor because it's not until Mashiro's released from hospital, but they're going to go on hiatus until after they graduate. That's more than needed, really. Everyone's shocked by this. Mashiro and Takagi don't want to listen, but they have no choice because he's the chief editor. But even though they realize they're going to go on hiatus, they're still working on their chapters, they're still working on their manga. So the Fukuda team, in the meantime, so that's Fukuda, Hiromaru, Nizuma, Aoki, and Nakai. They form the team, the Fukuda team, and they ring their editors and tell them, we're going to boycott Jump. They're going to boycott it until Mashiro and Takagi are serialized again. So the editors trying to convince them because it's their job to try and get their authors to create the chapters. So the editors and Team Fukuda meet, and Team Fukuda finally come to an agreement, saying that if the editors can convince the chief editor to have Mashiro and Takagi on hiatus until at least they're released from hospital, then the Fukuda team will continue creating chapters. But when the editors approach the chief editor with this idea, Sasaki, the chief editor, says no. The reason why he doesn't want to serialize or publish Detective Trap is because Mashiro's uncle died from overworking, and Mashiro knows that this is probably one of the reasons why the chief editor says so. to put them on hiatus until after they graduate. So Mashiro has his operation, and Mashiro and Takagi realizes after the operation that the Fukuda team have boycotted Jump because none of their manga are in the Jump magazine. So Mashiro and Takagi call Fukuda, they call Nizuma, and they try to convince them to continue working on their manga. The editor and them are going to try Miura and Takagi and Mashiro are going to try to convince the chief editor after they leave hospital to grant them permission to come back and continue doing their series. 3 months later, Mashiro is discharged from hospital, and Mashiro, Takagi and Miura, the editor, go and face Sasaki, the chief editor. They show that even though they were in hospital, Mashiro was in hospital, they still created great manga, great quality artwork, great quality story. They're trying to convince Sasaki to continue with their series from now, not until after they graduate. In the end, Sasaki is convinced, and Mashiro and Takagi are happy and celebrating, and they continue in their manga, Detective Trap. By this time, Mashiro and Takagi hear that Eiichi Nizuma's manga called Crow has been greenlit to have an anime. The rest of the volume continues with the ranks. The first volume they create after coming back, or after coming out of hiatus, gets a higher rank, I think rank 4. But after that the ranks decrease, and that is the price they pay for going on hiatus. Because it's not popular anymore, because they have more competition. The fans that they had are gone because it's been on a break. They don't want to wait that long. They didn't want to wait 3 months to read the next chapter, so they gave up. So the decrease happens, the decrease in rank still continues, and then the serialization meeting happens. That's also called the cancellation meetings, because series get cancelled and other series get serialized at that meeting. Hideout Door gets cancelled, another manga gets cancelled, and just at the end it's like a cliffhanger. We're about to find out whether another manga is going to get cancelled, but is it going to be Detective Trap? And we find that in volume 7. So please wait until then for the review. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.